All right. Thanks again. So I'll kick off the first question. Want to understand what's the biggest motivation for you to join the fraud DAO? What got you excited about it? Why did you believe that it's something that's worth your time and effort, especially for MetalPay?
Right. Um, I mean, one of the main reasons for us is definitely the access to additional information that um, we're not gonna be easily able to obtain this information in other ways. So, right now we use other tools that are there's a few tools that we do get input from third parties about potential like email risk scores or things things along those lines. But to be clear, we don't have anything like this product available to us where um, we're seeing like kind companies participating and getting insights into their risk scoring or kind of marks on the accounts that they have in their systems that match the same PII that we have on our system. So, um, you know, on our end, there's a few of these checks that we're able to make in the onboarding process, but a lot of this is just our best attempt at preventing fraud before it happens. But to get that type of insight from like kind companies where we can kind of more heavily rely on the results that we're getting from those other participants because of the nature of how similar the companies are that are participating. We can gain insights really that we're just not going to be able to gain anywhere else. So
Got it. So it's very much the access to insights and information in a preventative manner versus a reactionary manner that you don't have elsewhere, and you believe this would give that to you.
right, exactly.
Cool. So then, as you're involved, it's great that you're in there. What do you hope to get as you continue with your involvement with the fraud DAO? It's great that you're seeing the users, you're getting access to this, trying to think of preventative fraud. How do you hope it evolves, and what are the value you think you want to get out of it with your involvement?
Right. So, I mean, we're really hoping that participating in the fraud DAO is in getting those alerts in real time. So I guess one of the next steps is kind of uh, starting to make sure that the fraud DAO information is available to us in um, our main Unit 21 environment for alert generation. But with that, we would expect to then be able to improve our early detection of fraudulent, potential fraudulent customers and kind of catch them before they even start transacting. And you know, uh, Hopefully with that would reduce the actual fraud committed on platform and reduce potential losses, financial losses for the company. So
Great. So
and yeah, I mean, we just to your second point about like where do we see the fraud DAO in the future. I think that what we would like to see is obviously a steady growth of participants in the fraud DAO, and I think obviously that will result in more and more data, potentially more and more overlap of customers, and customers signing up from these platforms that are participating in the fraud DAO, and just being able to gain more insights to a more variety of users. Just increasing that chance that those PII data points are crossing with some other participant, and that participant has some markings on the customer, whether good or bad, and we can gain insights into that. So
that's awesome. Yeah, that really helps, right? It's going back to the theme you're saying, fraud prevention even before fraud hits, and making sure involvement this continues. So the other part is just like, you're a leader, you're going ahead and saying this looks like the way to do things for your company, and I'm thinking also what you think is the right way going forward. How do you think that ties into like the future of fighting fraud, right? You're a fraud fighter and you are putting efforts behind this, and the fraud DAO looks like something that matters. How do you think fighting fraud is going to evolve in the future?
Yeah. Just going back to the theme of the conversation here, I think the future of fraud is really dependent on the companies that are being defrauded to work together. So, that could be the fintech industry specifically, that could be the wider, financial, industry, depending on, the type of connections that can be made over the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years. Ideally you would see a network of all all financial companies, maybe not all, but significant amount of financial companies, interacting through some type of shared network of information sharing. And obviously we already have systems like that, for information sharing. So there's like something called 314B, which is an information sharing system um, for for registered MSBs, and but there's not this really automated like immediate feedback system of fraud that is has a wide range of participants, where we can get real-time feedback on a customer. So like ideally, an example of the future that I'd like to see is user A commits fraud at fintech platform A, and on a Monday, and within that same day, that information is being passed to all the participants of a network. The fraud DAO could be that network. I expect it to be the network, and then the other participants are well prepared for the event that that user comes to sign up, and they're already able to prevent it. So you're really limiting the ability of the fraudster to take advantage of the siloed information, and be able to attack multiple platforms in their in a given time window with the same stolen identity information, synthetic identity information, whatever mechanism they're using. If that information can be shared quickly and effectively across many companies, you're going to nip that right when it started, and reduce the financial loss impact to maybe one company, instead of affecting 50 companies financially or something like that. So I think
Basically,
that's really the way. Yeah, go ahead.
yeah. So then, would you say, like, having something like the fraud DAO and being a member of it gives you superpowers to fight fraud ahead of time versus reacting to it?
Absolutely, absolutely, yeah. And I mean, again, going back to that's why we're really excited about the growth of the fraud DAO over the next several years. I think the vision that I was kind of explaining there could be fulfilled by the fraud DAO, as it gets more and more members. And it could really it could expand across the entire financial industry. But I even think a successful a successful view of, or a successful scenario is where you have 100, 500, 1,000 fintech and crypto companies participating in the fraud DAO, and they're all sharing information effectively, privately, compliantly, and also reducing their fraud. Because I think fintechs are seeing a lot of fraud that can be reduced by just more effective information sharing. So
Great. This helps. Thank you. Appreciate it, Paulo.